The regular meeting of the Annapolis City Council on Monday, May 9th, 2022 will be called to order at 7:10. We apologise for the delay. There was a few technical difficulties we're sorting through. Thank you for your patience. At this time, can you join us for the invocation given by Alderwoman Pindell Charles? She's our go-to invocation person. Followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
As we say in church, be ye also and always ready. Everyone bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you once again, thanking you for all the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us as we do the business of our city, for the residents, for the businesses, and for the visitors. Lord, we tonight look upon again the residents and the people of Ukraine. A special prayer and a special blessing on them who have endured and survived and continue to fight the good fight. Lord, if we complain, look at Ukraine. We complain about small things. We complain about petty things. We stop speaking to each other because of stupid things. But Lord, let us look to the people who are literally trying to save their own lives and the lives of their people. Lord, we ask for your blessings upon us tonight as we go about the business, especially for our budget. We look to you to guide us and direct us in knowing what is best for those who we've been honored to serve as servant leaders. Lord, we ask you these blessings in your name. Amen.
Amen. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney? Here. Alderwoman O'Neill? Here. Alderwoman Pindell Charles?
Here.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Present.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Present.
Alderman Gay?
Here.
Alderman Savage?
Present.
Alderman Arnett?
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the first item on the agenda.
First item on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, is approval of the agenda.
And this time entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Can I get a second? Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill? Aye. Alderwoman Pindell Charles?
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Yes.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
The next item on the agenda is ceremonial items, beginning with Proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month.
Thank you. We all understand the importance of mental health. We understand that a lot of that has been exacerbated by the last couple of years that we've all been through together. So I'd like to read this proclamation. Whereas mental health is part of everyone's overall health and well-being, and mental illness is prevalent in our city, state, and nation, with 1 in 5 adults experiencing a mental health issue every day. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has increased the number of people experiencing feelings of anxiety and depression, and whereas stigma and the resulting discrimination is a primary obstacle to early identification and effective treatment of individuals with mental health illness and their ability to recover to lead full, productive lives. And whereas approximately half of the chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14, and suicide is the second leading cause of death of people ages between 10 and 24. And whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the second leading cause among young adults, 90% of people will die by suicide had shown symptoms of mental health conditions according to interviews with family, friends, and medical professionals in Maryland in 2021, 650 lives were lost to suicide. And whereas Maryland's are 10 times more likely to be forced out of network of mental health care in their primary health care, making it more difficult to find care and less affordable due to high out-of-pocket costs. And whereas more than 780,000 adults in Maryland are living with a mental health condition that is 19 times the population of the city of Annapolis. And whereas we come together with every citizen and community to help end the silence and stigma that for far too long has made people feel isolated, alone, people from getting help. And whereas through public education and working together to raise awareness, we can help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental health. Now, therefore, I, Gavin Buckley, Mayor of the City of Annapolis, Maryland, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Thank you all. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ID 11722, City Council Citation, Martin Luther King Jr. Parade Committee.
All right, Tola, are you coming up with those? Thank you. Those like to come forward, thank you. Our awesome Martin Luther King volunteers.
Oh, no. Oh. Maybe we were mean to him.
You guys doing good? Good to see you. Thank you. Great day. Everything went perfectly, nothing went wrong. I'll get you all up here, is that okay? Yeah. First of all, thank you. Thank you. Right, well, I hope we go with no mask, I'm sorry. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so on behalf of the residents of the City of Annapolis, we are pleased to confer upon you the City Council citation, thanking you for volunteering and organising this year's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Parade and the African Diaspora Festival. The parade partnership between the City of Annapolis and the Annapolis Drum and Bugle Corps help residents and visitors to Annapolis continue to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The partnership between the city and the African Diaspora Festival is vital to promoting African and American cultural connections. We thank you for your work and congratulations on a successful event. Can't wait for the event next year. Just keeps getting better. Thank you for everything you all do. So we have one of these for each of you. So
Can we applaud?
we'll just pull them out. So Tola will be passed. Okay, let's just put one in the middle here. We'll take a quick photo. Kate can come forward on that. And then if one of you wants to come forward and say a few words, we'd love that. Do you want to come sort of in the middle here? Yeah. Just put one of these in here, sure. Right, and would someone like to say a few words?
We're just grateful to have the opportunity to partner with the city. And thank you to Alderwoman Tierney for all of her support and help. That's every year, whether we get an opportunity to do it or not. And we were so glad to be able to come together after 2 years of the pandemic. So it was exciting to be there. And we thank the city for partnering with us and the Drum and Bugle Corps. Thank you.
Could you introduce everyone to us?
I surely will.
Everyone gets the certificate.
Alice Neal. Miriam.
Shamika Cole.
Pat Montague.
Darius A. Stanton. So we have something for you. I know people probably think you don't, but you do need one more t-shirt. and the one t-shirt that you need is the MLK Parade and African Diaspora Festival t-shirt. Awesome. And so I want to commend Ayatollah Ajayi for the vision he had several years ago and started at the Stanton Center. And so congratulations for birthing the African Diaspora Festival. And then also we want to thank the founder for pulling together, Ms. Patricia, the parade in itself. And so all of our volunteers, and so on behalf of all the volunteers and the residents and all the people who have been supportive of the parade and festival, thank you very much.
It's actually cool. Thank you. Thank you so much. Should stick around for another 3 or 4 hours if you. Are you going to stay up first? You read the name? You want to do the name? Looking good. I'm getting lots of swag tonight. Nice. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, the next item is petition reports and communications. First item is presentation from Chesapeake Region Accessible Boating.
All right, Mr. Bollinger, please come forward.
Good to see so many familiar faces. Knowing that we have, okay, good. It's good to see so many familiar faces, knowing that CRAB has been very fortunate to come before the City Council several times, and we're batting 1,000. We've had unanimous votes every time, and for that, we do not take it for granted, and we are very, very appreciative. What we're doing tonight is taking a few minutes of your time, because I know it's valuable, to just inform you of where we are with the adaptive program at the new Adaptive Boating Center facility that you voted on several years ago to see built and operating in Annapolis. So with that, I'll go to my prepared remarks. Dear Mr. Buckley and esteemed members of the Annapolis City Council, it is a pleasure to be addressing you this evening to provide a project update on the construction of the CRAB Annapolis Adaptive Boating Center. On June 3rd, 2019, the Annapolis City Council voted unanimously to approve the purchase of Port Williams Marina on Bemby Beach Road for the future home of CRAB's Adaptive Boating Center. The city acquired the marina on October 30th, 2019 for $2.25 million. To pay for the 0.86 acres of property, Anne Arundel County Executive Stuart Pittman committed $1.3 million of program open space funds. The City Council approved $500,000 of its program open space funds. CRAB provided the remaining $450,000 from its state improvement grant that the Governor, Larry Hogan, and the state legislature had approved. On November 19, 2020, we were honored to have Mayor Buckley, joined by Alderman Rob Savage, sign a 20-year lease for the property with 2 10-year extensions. After 18 months, the project has the necessary grading and building permits, and we look forward to breaking ground soon. To date, Crab has paid over $40,000 in permit fees for a property and an incredible facility that will one day be owned by the city of Annapolis. We're pleased to report that Crab was able to get the new floating dock built in 10 months from the start of permitting to final completion, and this is a record in this city. After it was inspected by DNR's waterway leadership, they told us the docks were the best they had ever seen and could win an award. Now, who knew there were Oscars for docks? But if there is one, we want it, and it will be the city's. This past Sunday, after breakfast, I was watching the television show CBS This Morning. They did a feature on the design and 100th anniversary of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Numerous designs were submitted in a competition, and they ultimately decided on one by Henry Bacon that was modeled after the Parthenon, birthplace of democracy. The design focused on unity and the rule of law, that all men are created equal. This theme struck a chord with me because Crab's Adaptive Boating Center design is one that features ADA accessibility throughout the grounds and buildings. All 5 restrooms are fully ADA accessible. There is not one that is not. The building minimizes doors and walls that create obstructions for people in wheelchairs. 30% of parking is for handicapped. The lifts on the floating docks will allow disabled guests to board any boat, which far exceeds federal accessibility standards. Unity in purpose, equality and accessibility, and equity in all the activities and programs will make Crab Adaptive Boating Center the premier facility in the country, if not the world. It will symbolize the bright blue handicapped parking sign that you see in the lot, except this is the blue sign guaranteeing access to our beautiful Chesapeake Bay for everyone who never thought it would be possible because of their disability or challenges they face in life to be able to learn how to boat on the bay. The environmental stewardship of this project also will make it an important piece in the city's overall resiliency and leadership. The entire roof of the Adaptive Boating Center will be covered in 61 solar panels, providing Crab with an agreement that will give us free power for 25 years. In addition, the parking lot will feature 2 BGE EV charging stations for 4 vehicles. The docks will have 50 and 30 amp power to charge any of Crab's electric powered boats in the future. In addition, the grounds will be planted with 660 trees, shrubs, bushes, and grasses to create a peaceful and serene environment that is friendly to all. For the city's investment of $500,000 of state program open space funds, Annapolis will have a $5 million premier adaptive boating center to add to the list of reasons for claiming to be the sailing capital of the United States. Starting in 2023, thousands of guests will be hosted and trained by Crab volunteer skippers and crew on how to sail, how to powerboat, how to use radio-controlled boats, learn kayaking, and other water sports. At this time, I'd like to show a very short 90-second video promoting the future Annapolis Adaptive Boating Center.
30 years ago, Chesapeake Region Accessible Boating began providing the thrill, freedom, and therapeutic value of sailing to people with disabilities, wounded warriors, and children from underserved communities. During this time period, Crab operated from a state park called Sandy Point, just north of the Bay Bridge. After 4 years of working with the state of Maryland, Anne Arundel County, and the city of Annapolis, Crab will have a new home in Annapolis. The property was formerly Port Williams Marina on Back Creek. In the coming months, the property will be cleared of its buildings and the marina in preparation for the construction of the premier adaptive boating center in the country. When construction is completed in 2021, the property will be the new home of the Don Backey Learning Center, as well as Crab offices for the operation of the facility. The center will feature a barrier-free, year-round learning environment that will be a warm and welcome place for Crab guests with any disability. Crab will offer boating instruction, STEM programming, and exercise classes taught by licensed instructors or therapists. The modern docks will exceed ADA standards and be fitted with several Hoyer lifts to lift and transfer guests from their wheelchairs into Crab sailboats or privately owned boats. The marina will also have a slip with a boat lift for a new pontoon boat that will be able to take guests in their wheelchairs out on the bay to fish, crab, wakeboard, or to earn their Maryland boating certification. The marina will have an 80-foot T-head of unobstructed docking space for larger boats that may transit the area and wish to host guests with disabilities. The property will feature a Serenity Park with a pavilion to allow guests and their families or friends to enjoy a picnic lunch while overlooking all of the boats coming and going on Back Creek. Outdoor instruction on the lawn will provide an enjoyable backdrop overlooking the Crab fleet. When the Adaptive Boating Center is complete in 2021, it will be the premier facility for people with disabilities, wounded warriors, and children from underserved communities to access and enjoy the Chesapeake Bay. We expect many more Crab guests to share the same feeling as one guest who told us, quote, "Thank you for taking me the farthest I've ever been from my wheelchair and the memories of the accident that put me in it. We look forward to seeing you at the ribbon cutting."
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and all City Council members for your support of Crab. We just wanted to bring you up to speed. You can tell we're extremely optimistic people. The video said 2021, and it was moved to 2022, and the construction should be complete February of 2023. So we'll be ready to start the season in April. Also, it's good to know we're bringing money to Annapolis with our contracting. We have ABS Architects on Main Street who are serving as our architects for this project, and we just selected through a competitive process Brown Contracting, Joe Brown, to build the building for us. So these are all Annapolis firms that are going to be part of this project doing this work. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
We want to just give you a round of applause, Paul. Thank you for your tenacity and your leadership. Thank you. Any questions?
Why is my brochure wet?
That's extra. We're a boating organization.
Alderman Finlayson.
Yes, not a question. I'm tearing up now because this is awesome. You all have done such a phenomenal job. You know, when you came to us originally, we had no idea what to expect, but we trusted in your vision, and clearly you were right on target, so I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman. I appreciate it very much. That means a lot. My wife said after she saw the video, she was tearing up too. So you're definitely not alone. And when we make the one that we promote on YouTube and send to the world about the real Adaptive Boating Center, not renderings, it's going to be very, very spectacular. And again, it's going to draw international, national, and regional attention because this type of facility does not exist. They accommodate people with disabilities at places that are designed for everyone, and therefore there's modifications, there's compromises, and everything of that nature to get them in. And let me just say this, a major donor to this project, because we've raised $2.5 million so far in addition at Crab to help pay for this project. A gentleman who was disabled came and he was very quiet when I gave him a tour of the property. And when we finished, he looked out over it and he just said, you know what? People with disabilities usually get secondhand stuff given to them. This is going to be first class. And he just almost teared up himself. And I said, it will definitely be first class when it's all said and done. And we look forward to having everyone on the city council and the mayor at the ribbon cutting when everything happens in February. But if you wish to see a tour of the property or anything anytime before then, please contact me. And David Gerald knows my number very well. So thank you. Happy to answer any other questions. And thank you, Alderman Rob Savage, for your continued strong leadership and support for this project, because it is new and different to the community. But I was speaking to some people tonight at a reception before this event for another event that is unique to Annapolis, which is called the Triple Crown of Charity Sailing. And it is the Leukemia Cup, the Crab Cup, and the Hospice Cup. 3 charity races that are held in this city. And there's one trophy given to the skipper who sails the best in the 3 races and raises the most money for the charities. It is the only trophy and event like that in the United States. It's not anywhere else but here. But they were asking about the project as well, and they're very excited about being able to host it there, and doing a lot more things there.
Thank you, Alderman Pendle Charles and Alderman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Bollinger, really, it's exciting. And I was down there with you a couple of months ago, and to see it is really to believe it. And like Alderwoman Finlayson said, you had a vision. We just didn't know what it was, but we trusted your judgment, and you've really taken it as really leaps and bounds. And thank you, Alderman Savage, for hosting this project. But I'm always really, 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 really thrilled when we can involve our children, especially those from underserved communities who have oftentimes no access to the water. And we've talked about that on many occasions. But I can't wait to see the faces of these children, all the children, when they get out there and really take a hold of this. It's going to be really exciting for all of us, and I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alderwoman Pendle Charles. You've been a wonderful supporter, and appreciated you coming for the tour. The buildings are gone now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Savage.
Yeah, I just want to echo all that. I'm very, very excited about the ribbon cutting and seeing this facility open. And I think, you know, this is going to be, as you said, premier facility in the country, if not the world. And to think we're going to have that here in Annapolis is quite an achievement. And you know, you haven't lost sight of the local level in spite of that. You know, I want to thank you for working with the neighbors and trying to address some of their concerns that they've raised through the process. You know, I think everybody, though, has been very excited, and I think of those people, I haven't received any more messages, so I think everybody should be happy to move forward here. But thank you again for all your perseverance.
Thank you very much. When you consider what we have, the Annapolis Maritime Museum there, you'll have the Crab Annapolis Adaptive Boating Center, you'll have Cars Beach. This is going to be a spectacular area in the city for providing access to the water.
Yeah, but it's all happening on Edgewood Road. It's the place to be, you know. And we want to thank you for giving us another piece of One Annapolis here for everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is update from the mayor.
So, good evening. I'd like for us to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of a man who played an important role in Annapolis as a generous member of our business community. Larry Reese Sr. worked alongside his dad, William, and his family business, and operated Reese Funeral Home. The Reeses have played an important role to generations of Annapolis families at some of the most vulnerable times in their lives. At this time of loss for the Reeses, I would like us to take a moment to acknowledge Larry's contribution and his passing with a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I make one comment?
Absolutely.
And I don't know if many people, well, some people know, Reese Funeral Home has been around for well over 50, 60 years. And oftentimes when people could not afford to bury their loved ones, they would either bury them for free, or different churches would take up a collection, or they would put people on payment plans. And that is so unusual, but I think it's worth mentioning because we don't see that oftentimes. And they have any kind of program or booklet or banquet, they always have an ad in that booklet or banquet all the time. And that is truly something that's, as Mr. Bollinger said, that's spectacular. And they need to be recognized for that, what they've done for the community for many, many decades. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So last week we had two momentous events in the city. First, the Spring Sailboat Show was a success. And second, the Hillman Garage closed for 14 months for the rebuild. The garage closure has gone relatively smoothly. I know that hundreds of city staff are riding the free downtown shuttle from Park Place and are navigating the change. I'd like to thank them for their flexibility in adjusting alongside our residents and our visitors. 13 months and 3 weeks to go until we see the new garage. Also, tonight, I would like to introduce in person our new Planning and Zoning Director, one of the huge crowd out there. Please stand up, Michael Laplace. We are all so happy to have you here. If you could step to the microphone and say a couple of words, and then we'll set you free if you like.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just wanted to say that everyone can probably relate to the fact that a first day on a new job is less than fun. It's usually very stressful and you feel awkward and kind of dumb. But this was by far the most pleasant one I've ever had. Everyone was so warm and welcoming and supportive, so I appreciate that. I'm not surprised, though. That's what I was expecting. So it's wonderful to be here. Thank you very much.
All right. And I'd like to also congratulate Chief Jackson, his officers and detectives in the Annapolis Police Department who broke a difficult case. Week before last, they made an arrest in the April 12th shooting of a 15-year-old at Eastport Terrace. That young person survived. The person charged is also a young man, a 20-year-old Glen Burnie man facing 2 counts of attempted first and second degree murder. After his arraignment last Monday, he is currently held without bond, which is sad, another life lost. I want to offer a reminder, Annapolis is no safe harbor for those who bring gun violence here. And thank you to the Art and Public Places Commission for the downstairs gallery exhibition in cooperation with Gigi's Playhouse. We hosted an opening reception this evening, and I got to meet a few of the artists and present them with a City Council citation. Gigi's Place, Annapolis, joins 54 locations across the United States seeking to change the way the world views Down syndrome and to send a global message of acceptance for all. The display will be in place for the next few weeks if you'd like to check it out during the regular business hours. That's Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at City Hall, 160 Duke of Gloucester. And coming up on Thursday, the Annapolis Pride Parade and Festival will host a kickoff party at the Graduate Hotel. And the parade and festival will be held on June 4th. At the Thursday's event, we will read a June is Pride Month proclamation. Please come to that event. That is from 4 to 7 at the Graduate Hotel. I'd like to see you there, please. And starting on Friday, May 13th, the running through Sunday, the Annapolis Upbringing Festival will take place at City Dock. Let's hear it for Alderman Arnett. It is a free event with music and food and, most importantly, 5 tall ships. You can bring your family, check them out, including the Lynx and the Pride of Baltimore. For a fee, you can even take a sail out onto the bay. You'll need to go online for those tickets. That's our first Annapolis Upbringing Festival. This weekend, the first of many, we hope, this weekend at City Dock. Yep. And last item, next week is Bike to Work Week. And that's good because we don't have a garage here. So and I encourage, you've seen my bike downstairs in the lobby. I encourage our bicycle commuters to meet up at City Dock in the morning of May 18th from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. There'll be food and coffee from City Dock, from Rise Up Coffee Shop, and tons of bikers in Lycra who wouldn't want to see that. It's organized through the Baltimore Metropolitan Council. We'll be saying a few words between 8 and 9. Pre-register online at biketoworkmd.com, and you can get a free t-shirt. Even if you miss the free tea, there are plenty of giveaways, plus the opportunity to meet up with other bike enthusiasts. I will see you there because you all know I am a regular bicycle commuter. So let's get on with tonight's meeting. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is reports by committee. The first item is ID 12322, Finance Committee recommendations.
Okay, I think we will go to Alderman Tyranny for that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And you know that is a requirement of the new planning and zoning director to ride his bike, okay? We'll be looking for you. Also a little out of order, I just want to acknowledge Alderman Gay for the mental health proclamation. I know he was really the impetus behind that, and thank you very much. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to present the Finance Committee report to the City Council on the fiscal year 2023 proposed annual operating and capital budget. This will probably take about 15 to 20 minutes at most. I'd like to start by thanking first my colleagues on the committee, Alderwoman Sheila Finlayson and Alderwoman Karma O'Neill. In addition, I'd like to thank Takia Green for her assistance, and of course, the City Manager David Jarrell, Director Jody Dickinson, and Katie Connolly for their assistance and attendance throughout the process. Lastly, to colleagues Alderman Arnett, Gay, and Alderwoman Pindall Charles for their attendance to the meetings. I hope you all take the time to read the 20-page report, but tonight I'm going to just walk you through the sections and finally our recommendations to you. So the report starts with an introduction of how the mayor's budget was prepared, and that flow chart is on page 1. This started last December with a City Council work session to address the council's priorities and address them in the budget. The two most common requests from all wards were to hire a zoning compliance inspector to enforce the code and to fund the Annapolis Police Department on crime prevention measures. At the same time, the departments were all asked to provide their respective budgets, as well as prepare for their scheduled presentations before the Finance Committee. This year was pivotal in that they were all trained in developing their performance measures by Forrest Consulting, and therefore they were asked to report on them, at least for the first half of fiscal year 22. They were also asked to provide their long and short-term goals in accomplishing these performance measures. It's important to note that none of the departments were asked to increase their services, therefore their task was to evaluate patterns of past expenditures in developing their budget line items. An inflation rate of 3.2% was proposed. We included the presentation of the budget made to the City Council as background to our recommendations. Pages 3 and 4 of Good News versus Bad News should look familiar to you. We included graphs from the Finance Department using OpenGov, which indicate breakdown of the general fund revenue and the general fund expenditures. A key note on projected expenditures was that union negotiations were not yet finalized and an estimate placeholder was included. On page 5, we summarized remaining fund balances because, as you know, one measure of a city's financial strength is the level of its unassigned fund balances and to maintain its 3 reserves. And we were successful as usual. It was also important to explain on page 5 that the Transportation Fund was able to adjust its operation in line with its grant and federal funding. Therefore, less support from the Parking Fund was necessary. We summarized on pages 5 and 6 the use of the American Rescue Act funding, otherwise known as ARPA. On page 6, we show a graph indicating visually the projected structural deficit once ARPA money is gone for fiscal year 2025. Thank you, Director Dickinson, for responding to this request in providing the graph. So the majority of the report are the department presentations, and they are summarized on pages 6 through 18. Because for 2 weeks, that's what was presented to us, and that's what we intently listened to and asked a lot of questions. The presentations all conformed pretty much to what they were asked. We listed in our report what we saw as highlighted accomplishments. We do suggest that you go through them if you weren't able to attend the Finance Committee meetings. We also reviewed their performance measures, specifically on which ones were not met and why. This helped us with our recommendations. On bottom of page 18 and 19, we summarize the community grants presentation, which demonstrated an equitable distribution. We reviewed the enterprise fund account on page 19 and felt that the increases in rates explained by our consultant were justified. The capital budget was reviewed in its entirety, and we highlighted the federal and state grants for key projects on page 19. On page 20, we summarize fee revisions made by Annapolis Police Department, Department of Public Works, Parks and Recreation, and the Harbor Master, and the fine revisions presented by the Harbor Master and DPW. So, lastly, let me go to our recommendations on pages 20 through 21, which are bulleted. So first is and I'll read these because they're important. We've had the benefit of ARPA funds. However, by fiscal year 25, ARPA funds will not be available to utilize. At that time, we should be considering, if not beforehand, how we will adjust to a decrease in revenue. The City Council must consider additional revenue growth or conserve expenses to address this. The second bullet, and this is an amendment, is the use of one-time funds, $70,000 for the Substance Abuse Disorders Program. We recommended this after discussions with the Office of Emergency Management and the police and the mayor's office, and realized that OEM needed this influx of money because right now they only had $35,000. And they've practiced very good, they are very good in leveraging the money that they receive. So this is out of one-time expense. The next bullet is a little more challenging, but we feel that there is a need for an additional attorney in the Office of Law. The fiscal year 23 budget includes monies for outsourcing, a consultant monies for outsourcing. But we feel with the litigious environment and the success potential of the Office of Law, that an additional attorney that is cross-trained in different disciplines would be very advantageous. At this writing, we don't have a source of funding. We will not increase the budget. We'll withdraw it if we don't find the money, but I'm sure that we can. The next bullet is use of one-time funds of $100,000 for parks and recreation. This is an amendment. There is a huge initiative with the Annapolis Police Department and Parks and Recreation to help our kids, to give them programs, and we fully support this. It's exciting stuff. Baseball teams, boxing challenges, camps, anything to just give these kids something to do during the summer, and we're convinced that this money will be put to good use. We call it a pilot, not a recurring expense, because it's sort of a trial and error to see how this goes. And this is all in tandem with the police department. In our review, the next bullet is in our review of the community grants, which we thought were very equitably distributed. Well, I wouldn't call it a new organization, but a smaller organization starting up is SOFO, which is South of Forest Community. We only wanted to increase their grant from 1,000 to 2,000, and we will find the monies to do that without increasing the budget. The next are what you probably know as parking lot items, but they are recommendations and path forward that we hope are given the consideration that they deserve. In the community grants, we think it's very important to adhere to the City Code 6.16.070 in requiring and receiving their quarterly reports. It appears that has not been done successfully, and we know that it can be, just for more attention to be given to that effort. The next bullet is a small thing, but just something that we need to do, which is a code change for arts and public places requiring city funding. That's not necessary anymore because of their state allocation of the hotel tax. The next two bullets we'll put together in our review of human resources and MIT. When we heard their accomplishments, specifically going through the pandemic and post-pandemic, and the critical nature of their work, reaching out to the entire city and to all city departments, we felt strongly that they should be upgraded to departments respectively. That would be both for the Human Resource Department and MIT. Next bullet was very important to us, and we had a lot of discussions about this with the respective departments, that there must be better coordination between the departments in pursuing grants. We called some departments back on a very critical issue, which was the opioid epidemic, and and respective grants for opioids and the LEAD program, et cetera. Lots of money. We wanted to make sure that there was no duplication, and the look ahead on that is that we must have better coordination between the departments in pursuing these grants for such critical initiatives. And that ties into the next bullet, which is to dedicate a staff member within the department to monitor that grant from beginning to end if possible. We understand the finance department has included a person to also monitor the financial requirements of the grant. But there should be a dedicated staff member within each department responsible for that grant. In our review of the capital budget, the capital report, we realized that we have to re-examine our sidewalk code, and that being for new sidewalks, replacement of sidewalks, repair of sidewalks. It appears that not all of my colleagues, got what they wanted with sidewalks, and you really need to evaluate that code and see if it makes sense in the interest of mostly the residents. In our review, the next bullet, in our review of planning and zoning, we were concerned about having one staff member, the Chief of Historic Preservation, with essentially just assistant level staff, but just question with the expanded city dock revitalization and the construction downtown, the outside dining guidelines, et cetera, we just wanted that workload to be reviewed for potential support. We did not make any amendments. We would just address that concern for the record. And the next bullet, and I'm glad the new Director of Planning and Zoning is here. I think it was last year, it may have been the year before, we did put money in the budget because of our concern about our permitting process. A $20,000 figure to hire a consultant to walk the permit process through from start to finish. And we feel that that analysis must be done. We know that the Planning and Zoning had requested enhancement to hire someone in the permit office, and we put that aside until this examination is made. We still hear, unfortunately, complaints about the permitting process in the city. So hopefully this consultant will be hired. And the mayor's office, the next bullet, the mayor's office has an enormous amount of outreach efforts demonstrated tonight with the Martin Luther King parade. And they have respective staff assigned to it. We just ask that they provide an organization chart. And this came up when in the budget we learned that there was a staff transfer from someone in the mayor's office to the Office of Community Services, which resulted in some staff we thought would be overloaded with other staff with undefined roles. So we think it's very important that the mayor's office provide the structure of their outreach because it is fully, there's a lot of grant money there, and their work is very important. And lastly, this came up in the discussion with APD, Office of Emergency Management, and Office of Community Development, is to define the future use, the staffing, and the budget of police substations, otherwise known as resource centers. It was suggested perhaps that we have a city council work session to discuss what we define them as and their future use and additions, etc. The appendix we attach is, and it's online, is the community grant listing that was presented to us by the work group. So that's it. Again, I want to thank you for your patience. And if you have questions, you can email us And this doesn't replace reading the budget, but we did present it so that it is, sort of self-supporting, and that it's sort of crib notes of the budget and then to lead to our recommendations. So thank you again, and thank you again, Director Dickinson, for your assistance. And I want to end by saying it is very important that we get our amendments in by May 16th. I believe Takia sent out a notice. That is just a deadline notice, not a meeting. So that's the next step. Thank you.
And we want to thank you and the Finance Committee for the amazing amount of hours you guys put in there. Marathon sessions, thank you, everyone. Any questions? Any other reports? Alderman Gay.
Thank you. The Housing and Human Welfare Committee meets May the 16th at 6 o'clock. We got a number of things actually to discuss. We need to get policies and guidelines prepared for the Rental Assistance Trust Fund that will be available after July 1. And we also have zoning legislation that the planning staff has worked very hard on for affordable housing requirements. And so, busy meeting. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Alderman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Environmental Matters is meeting this Thursday at 3 p.m. And we don't have any legislation, but I wanted to let our colleagues know that we are getting 2 presentations, one from Public Works Director on progress as far as meeting our WIP targets, and we'll probably get into the stormwater fee a little bit and probably some things that came up in the budget, but it's going to focus on the WIP program, MS4 program. And the second presentation is going to be from, and discussion is going to be with the fire department, fire chief. He's coming to talk about the PFAS chemicals, the persistent chemicals that last for thousands of years in the environment, but they're known to cause cancer. And a state law passed, but doesn't take effect yet. So I just invited him to talk about, they're currently using, they have a stockpile of some of the foam that contains the PFAS, and also some of the firefighter equipment contains that. So I wanted to invite them to get some more information from them about these products and what the alternatives are and how much it might cost and that kind of thing. So everybody's welcome to come.
Thank you. Alderman Chandler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Economic Matters will be meeting on next Wednesday, May 18th at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you. Alderman Pindell Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a continuing update from the State of Annapolis Public Safety Address given at the council meeting on March 14th, which has resulted in instituting the plan, Annapolis United, Love Our Children, Love Our Neighbors, Peace is Here, and Stop the Violence. Regarding Recreation and Parks Department, Love Our Children, what are we doing? Rec and Parks extensive budget presentation was on April 21st. A successful Annapolis United meeting was held on Friday, May 6th, with Director, Finance Committee, City Manager to discuss additions to the budget regarding Annapolis United. I have a meeting scheduled with the Director and leadership to start to discuss how we can outline the programming, especially for our youth, on Wednesday, May the 11th. Office of Emergency Management, Love Our Neighbors, what are we doing to promote? OEM's extensive budget presentations were held on April the 19th and May the 3rd. Meeting with OEM on Wednesday, May 4th to discuss substance use disorder in each individual ward. For example, Ward 3's demographics are different than Wards 4 and 6. So we are looking at putting together a litany of information that is customized for each ward based upon the data and the demographic makeup of each ward. You'll hear more about that later. Tornado update specifically to address those who are renters who suffered losses. This meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, May the 10th. Meeting scheduled with OEM leadership on Friday, May the 13th. Annapolis Fire Department, Peace is Here. What are we doing to promote? AFD's extensive budget presentation was on April the 18th. I was in attendance at the AFD promotion and pinning ceremony, which was held on Friday, April 29th for 2 firefighters, first class. Meeting scheduled with AFD leadership on this coming Friday, May 13th. Annapolis Police Department, Stop the Violence. APD's extensive budget presentation was on April the 25th. Again, part of our Police Department Stop the Violence initiative was publicly announced on Thursday, March 24th at Reckin Park Stanton Center. One of the components of that initiative was launched via Facebook Live, namely APD's Protect and Serve Community Updates, which includes a segment titled Annapolis Most Wanted, among several other segments and positive news. Second Facebook Live segment was held on Friday, April the 1st, 1 p.m., City's Command Center. The third on Friday, April 22nd. Planning these Protect and Serve community updates bi-weekly. The next one scheduled Friday, May the 6th. I was unable to attend, however, another arrest, as the mayor indicated, was made regarding a shooting, and this was part of the updates on last Friday. The next bi-weekly Protect and Serve community update scheduled for Friday, May 20th, 1 p.m., Command Center. Again, Ward 8 Town Hall meeting was held on Thursday, April 7th. Public safety was discussed, and I am going to get with Alderman Arnett as well as ECA to discuss that. Participation by APD at the Spring Forward to New Opportunities 2022 Job and Career Recruitment Fair, hosted by the Maryland Department of Labor, was held on Thursday, April 28th. Pip Moyer Rec Center, the mayor and I gave opening remarks and the welcome. APD was a vendor. The last of the 6 sessions of the Annapolis Guards Leadership Academy was held on Thursday evening, April 21st. One of the themes was public safety. APD Chief Jackson and his command staff, OEM Director Simmons and Deputy Director Mandel, AFD Chief O'Malley and Deputy Chief Spriggs spoke, as well as participated in 2 different roundtable discussions. The graduation was held on Thursday evening, April 28th, at St. Philip's Episcopal Church in Annapolis, where Chief Jackson was a speaker and his command staff was in attendance. Also, AFD Chief O'Malley attended and participated as well. County Executives Interfaith Advisory Council meeting with APD Faith and Blue in attendance was held on Wednesday evening, April 27th. Chief Jackson, APD's Senior Chaplain, Pastor Jerry Colvin, and I were in attendance. We pledged to work together with IFAC toward the benefit of our children and communities, was also on the behalf of our APD staffs. These meetings are held quarterly. Also, APD's second annual Faith and Blue event is being planned for Sunday, October 9th, 1 to 5 at People's Park. All are invited. And Senior Chaplain Colbert will be honored by his church on June the 3rd. APD held a 3-hour briefing with the leadership of Ward 1 Residents Association, combined with Germantown Homewood Civic Association on Thursday, April 28th. The residents indicated to all of us that they are very pleased, and some residents pledged to support the foundation, even tangibly. Had a meeting by phone on Friday, May 6th with Chief Jackson regarding any updates. Ward 7 Town Hall meeting will be held on this coming Tuesday, tomorrow, May 10th, where APD and I will be there, and APD will discuss public safety with Alderman Savage and his residents. APD promotional ceremony this coming Wednesday, May 11th, 6 p.m. at Pip Moyer Rec Center. The council is welcome to attend. I was asked to be one of the promotional speakers. On Friday, May 20th from 7 to 8 at Chambers Park in Ward 3, Mount Olive Juniors and youth will be holding a candlelight luminary service for deceased Annapolis and Anne Arundel County firefighters and police officers. All are welcome. Ms. Cynthia Hicks and Ms. Carrie Lindsay, the adult leaders for the youth group, approached me and indicated to me that the youth decided that they wanted to do this and asked for my help. All again are invited. I'm continuing to accept any updates from council colleagues, city colleagues on recruitment of an officer from their ward. I made the recruitment plea to Annapolis area clergy. I'm also putting out there to the public again. Can you recruit an officer? What better way for an Annapolis resident, especially one that has deep connection to our Annapolis area, to serve and to minister to one's own community? What a wonderful opportunity for someone to shape and to mold how you see and believe how your community should be. Our last Public Safety Standing Committee meeting was scheduled for Monday, May 2nd. However, it was canceled since all 3 of our public safety teams have been working very hard on their budgets and budget presentations during April and May. Our next Public Safety Committee meeting usually would be scheduled for Monday, June the 6th at 4 here in Council Chambers, but the date will have to be changed due to the day-long special full council budget meeting from 10 to 11 p.m. on June 6th. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Alderman Gay?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I forgot one other thing that would fall under human welfare. May the 11th from 11 to 4 at Chop Tank right down the street here on Compromise. They're holding a hiring fair all day. You'll get hired on the spot. $15 an hour, flexible schedule, just all the perks that you want, and a part-time or full-time job. But please take advantage of it because they've been very, very kind to our community. So just wanted to get that out there.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Alderman Gay, do you have a flyer or anything for that?
I do.
Yeah,
yes,
can you
I'll send it to you. Absolutely.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rules and City Government Committee met on May 6th. We took up legislation R-1722, the Annapolis Waterfront and Sailing Center. We gave it a favorable recommendation. We also had a presentation from Mr. Stephen Rice, our minority business coordinator. And a few years ago, I guess it was, we passed an ordinance, a change in the code that said that any change in policy by any of our departments, they had to come to the respective committee just for information. And so Mr. Rice came to us on the 6th and gave us a detailed description of the policy and procedures that are relating to the new parklets. We had a lot of questions and realized that there's some pieces that are missing that are our responsibility and not staff's responsibility. So we'll be bringing some recommendations to the council so that we can make sure it's a smooth process as we open them. Our next meeting will be announced. No set date at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is comments by the general public.
We don't have anybody signed up to speak, but if anyone would like to come forward and say a few words, please come forward now. Mr. Strawn? All right, okay, no worries. Okay, well, seeing no motion in the chamber, I declare comments by the general public closed. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is the consent calendar.
Got to get a motion on that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill? Aye. Alderwoman Kendall Charles?
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
I have a question. I'm so sorry because you're in the middle of the roll call. I hate to do this.
Not appropriate right now. You're in the middle of a vote.
Yeah, I think we're in the middle of the vote.
Mr.
It's too
Attorney,
late.
could I really,
Alderman.
really please?
No,
It's not,
going through a vote.
it's not
Thank you.
appropriate, sir.
Okay. Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderman Tierney? Aye. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the...
You okay? Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
The next item on the agenda is business and miscellaneous items. The first item is supplemental appropriation over $50,000, SA 2322, Arts and Public Places Commission, AIPPC fund balance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion, a first and a second. Gina? Any discussion? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is public hearings, beginning with O1522, annual budget and appropriation of property tax levy. I'm sorry.
Yes, no
This is
speakers.
the official for the budget?
Thank you. We have no one signed up to
Would have
speak.
been here to speak on it.
Anybody here? I declare the public hearing on O-15-22 open
Yeah.
until special meeting on Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Thank you all. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item is fiscal year 2023 fee schedule, R2322.
No speakers.
It's for public hearing.
Again, we have no one signed up to speak. We declare the public hearing on R23-22 open until special meeting on Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Next item is another item for public hearing, fiscal year 2023 fines schedule, R2422.
No speakers.
Okay, no speakers again. Okay, we declare the public hearing on R-24-22 open until special meeting on Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, the next items are legislative actions, beginning with first readers, R3122, position classification and pay plan for the purpose of approving fiscal year 2023 position classifications.
Thank you. Could I get a motion for R31-22?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. I refer R-31-22 to the Finance Committee and to the for a public hearing. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is legislative action, second readers, beginning with O3721, exempt service, position classification update, for the purpose of removing the development event specialist position from the exempt service position classification.
Thank you. Could I get a motion for O-37-21?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Could I get a motion to adopt O-37-21 on third reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you all. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill? Aye. Alderwoman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Still in second readers, the next item is R1722, the Annapolis Waterfront and Sailing Center.
How do you put on?
Is there a motion to adopt R-17-22 on second reader?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Thank you. I see a proposed amendment. Alderman Tierney?
Yes, I'll move both of these together, if I may, Amendment 1 and Amendment 2.
Second.
Thank you. Would you like to elaborate before we vote?
Sure, of course. These amendments came from the Maritime Advisory Board, and I did want to preface this that we all know the good things that the Annapolis Waterfront Sailing Center does, but it's a little premature to announce anyone as the gatekeeper or the welcoming committee of a dock that we've waited a long time for. And as I spoke of in the Finance Committee report, we are trying to optimize revenue. So I simply, Amendment 1, instead of saying we want them to be the welcoming center of the dock, we strike that and say we want them to be, and I have to look back at the language, but as a welcoming a welcoming committee. We don't want to limit it to just them. And then also because of the excellent management of the dock that the harbor master does. We Amendment 2 replaces inserts as line 7. Be it further resolved by the Annapolis City Council that the booking of reservations for the dock shall be made by the captain or an authorized agent of the vessel directly with the harbor master's office in accordance with the city rules and regulations. So again, it acknowledges the work that they do, but just limits, it opens the dock up to other welcoming parties.
Thank you. All those in favor? Motion to amend, sir, please.
I motioned them both together, sir.
I seconded it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt R-17-22 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill? Aye. Alderwoman Pendle Charles?
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer?
Aye.
Alderman Gay?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney?
Aye.
And that resolution passes.
Thank you. All right. I think, Mr. City Attorney, this is you, right?
Yep. So we got to do.
twist.
Someone needs a motion for this.
Okay,
Yeah, you got it.
great, thank you. Do we have anything else for good order? Alderman O'Neill?
I have a question about a message that we received in regards to the Truxton Park Pool and the change in operations for the swim team. I'm guessing everybody read that? It was received this afternoon. And the swim team operates through the Truxton Park Pool, has been in operation since 2005, 2006, I believe. And they were recently told in the last couple of weeks that they would not be able to have concessions as their fundraiser. The swim team would not be able to. Furthermore, the city would not be purchasing the t-shirts for the swim team members as we have in the past. And that there were no parents allowed on the pool deck, which they understood was a COVID response last year, but we're questioning that and wanted to see the will of the council on those three.
Mr. Mayor? Not sure where we're going with that, because if the will of the council is a decision that needs to be on an agenda and published to the public. So I'm not certain that this is the appropriate time for any more action by the council, because at this point, you may want to put it on an appropriate agenda.
I apologize for overstepping. I just wasn't sure.
Unless you want to talk to the city manager first.
Yeah, I think we can take it offline with the city manager. Obviously, we're all passionate about that. Plenty of our kids have used that option, so I'll just get Alderman Savage's input.
Request.
Yeah, I think we do need to get to the bottom of this. I mean, it's been a bit frustrating because the team was told months ago they were all of a sudden going to be prevented from, utilizing the city's existing. I guess the city used to be the host of their funds, right? So that they could have the security of the rec department and the pool. They were told the city wasn't going to do that anymore on very short notice, and then they were told they were only going to have 1 to 2 lanes, and which was insufficient to have any kind of team. Fortunately, the department backtracked on that and determined to support the team, but it caused a lot of consternation then. So there's a meeting tomorrow night of swim team parents who will be talking about the team. So this is kind of short notice if this is coming up at this time.
Yeah.
So I do think it'd be worthwhile to discuss as a council at some point.
Can I officially request that the city manager reviews that?
So is the request that we have a discussion about that offline? Is that what your request is?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Alderman Gay?
Thank you. Definitely second what she said. I have some friends that were members of the Truxton Park Penguins when we were in middle school. And actually, my friend Michaela, who was a Penguin, she taught me how to swim. So that's important. But this is also important. I would ask that at our meeting in May, last meeting in May, we have a resolution put together, again, getting the will of the council. And I know it has really nothing to do with us because it'll all be federal, but some sort of support for Roe v. Wade. I think it would be good for us to maybe have a resolution just supporting that effort, not the opposition, but the, and then also, oh gosh, it was one more thing that was so important. I'll pass and I'll come back, but the resolution would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Alderman Tierney?
Yeah, just really quickly, who I forgot to thank is I just want to thank all of the departments that came in to present to the Finance Committee meeting. I just had to say that because I know it could be a painful process, and so thank you to all of the city departments.
Thank you. Alderman Gay again?
I remember what it is. The AARP breakdown, I don't think we've received that yet, and that's important for some of my amendments. So if we could get that, that would be helpful. I don't know if it's in the doc. I looked for it, but I couldn't find it.
An ARPA breakdown.
ARPA, yeah.
What kind of breakdown? We've only used 1,171 in 21.
And the also, yeah. Well, do you have that? Maybe what you used it on, and also the CARES one as well. I just need to have for the amendments a better understanding of how much money we put on just outreach and programming, etc., through the federal government's dollars.
All right. I thought I had sent the reports that I sent to the county on the CARES
I was looking
funding.
for it. I couldn't find it at all.
Okay, I'll look that back up again, and they're divided into categories on the county's report. And depending on what you're trying to summarize.
The ARPA money is in the report, not the CARES itemization.
Okay.
And the use of the ARPA monies was also summarized in our PowerPoint presentation that we did. It's very simple. We used only we've only used ARPA funds to the tune of 1.171 or 72 in FY21 for transportation activities. The rest of it's available to be used. And we've programmed some of it in next year's budget. For the CARES funding, I gave you the quarterly CARES reports that went to the county because they have them in different categories, but that may not be the categories you're trying to pinpoint. So you're gonna, if I need to pinpoint specific organizations, you're gonna have to give me more guidance.
Okay,
You may be able to pull that information off those quarterly reports.
Yeah, I should be able to. If you would,
I'll try to find that email again and
Okay, perfect.
send it.
And I just want to make sure I have every amendment to you by Friday. As I've got some in already, but I just want to do a last follow through. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
City Attorney.
you'll need a motion to change the regular meeting date because of the financial issues that need to be presented to the county and the state. The meeting changed to June 10th.
Okay, someone help me out with a motion on that, please.
Second. Do we need to say what time?
So I will just read what's in front of me, or you read that?
PM.
Yeah, the pursuant to Article 1, the council is going to move its meeting based on the motion to 7 p.m. on June 10th instead of the regular meeting day of June 13th.
Let me be clear, we're talking the 10th, a Friday?
June 10th. 7 p.m. Yep.
7 p.m.
That should be your motion. Is my
That's what I'm clarifying the time. Would 5 o'clock be a more acceptable?
It's your motion to make, ma'am. I'm
So
just
what's the
suggesting that a
pleasure?
motion be made.
5? At 5 o'clock.
That was my motion.
So you need a second, Mr. Mayor, for 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, we've got a second for that, please.
On the 10th?
Second.
Thank you.
So you have a motion and a second for moving the meeting from June 10th, 5 p.m.
I can do 9 a.m.
For the regular meeting,
Yes.
right?
Excuse me, it's done?
What, Mr. Vote.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. We're still discussing. Alderman Gay.
Mr. Mayor, I think it's Friday at 5 o'clock. The three of us that work are here. He's able to come in the morning. I could be here in the morning.
I work from home on Fridays. I can come in.
Who's going to run my food Fridays?
OEM.
That is a good thing.
7 at 5 o'clock on a Friday?
Motion and a second for 5 o'clock. We're going to go with that, please. Ready? All those in favor?
Aye.
We got a motion and a second for 5 o'clock. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No. It's pointless.
One opposition. Thank you. Motion carries.
Your agenda's over, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
All
and
right.
anything else for good order? I'm feeling good about this. I'm sure I'm going to jinx us. It's very different to what's been happening in other budgets. Thank you for all your hard work. Anything else for good order, guys?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. World record.
I guess you guys can party it out.